Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at Z107.7 FM.com. Here is the Z107.7 Local news for Monday, January 13th, 2025. Two people in Joshua Tree were arrested for investigation into numerous drug charges and child abuse after a teenager ingested psychedelic mushrooms. On Tuesday at around 6 a.m., San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies responded to a report of a 14-year-old boy who had ingested psilocybin mushrooms. The boy was taken to a local hospital for treatment. As part of their investigation into the circumstances of the hospitalization, deputies discovered that the boy's father, identified as Jarek Hawksley, a 40-year-old resident of San Clemente, and his girlfriend, identified as Rachel Kolb, a 39-year-old resident of Joshua Tree, were running a mushroom cultivation operation in the 2500 block of Desert Shadow Road in Joshua Tree. Deputies, along with the sheriff's marijuana enforcement team, conducted a search of the property where they say they discovered multiple firearms, more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition, ecstasy pills, marijuana plants, 80 pounds of suspected psilocybin mushrooms, a scale, and currency. Both Hawksley and Kolb were taken into custody. Jarek Hawksley and Rachel Kolb were arrested for investigation into child abuse with the possibility of great bodily injury and numerous drug charges related to cultivating, transportation, and sales of controlled substances. Hawksley has been released on bail, and Kolb is being held at the West Valley Detention Center on $100,000 bail. A train burglary in Amboy was thwarted with assistance from the Morongo Basin Sheriff Station, who made two arrests and recovered $18,000 in property. On Friday morning, just after midnight, San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies were contacted by BNSF Rail Police, who said that a train in the area of Amboy and National Trails Highway was being burglarized by multiple suspects. BNSF Police was unable to immediately respond and requested assistance from deputies. On their way to the scene, deputies say they saw an unmarked box truck traveling west on Amboy Road near Bristol Avenue. Deputies conducted a traffic stop and say they found nearly $18,000 worth of items that were later confirmed to have been stolen from the train. The two men in the box truck were identified as Jose Villalobos Infante, a 45-year-old resident of Phoenix, Arizona, and Oscar Sosa, a 28-year-old resident of Apple Valley. The Sheriff's Department said that train burglaries are a crime that is often organized and committed by criminal groups, and their investigation into the incident is continuing in collaboration with BNSF Police. Jose Villalobos Infante and Oscar Sosa were arrested for investigation into burglary and are both being held at the West Valley Detention Center on $100,000 bail. At tonight's meeting of the Landers Homestead Valley Community Association, attendees will hear about local drone privacy issues, what the laws are concerning drones and your privacy, and what you can do if you encounter an invasive drone over your property. Reporter Annalise Kuiper tells us what else is on tonight's agenda.
Also tonight, the association will reveal the 2025 priorities which were determined by the results of a recent poll. And among other items, attendees will learn how locals can get deeply discounted tickets to the upcoming King of the Hammers race, how to pitch in at the next Giant Rock cleanup, and why the January 23 point-in-time count of the unhoused has special significance in Landers. Tonight's hour-long meeting begins at 5 p.m. and takes place at Belfield Hall, 58380 Retchie Road in Landers, and yes, there will be cookies. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Annalise Kuiper.
In the wake of the Los Angeles wildfires, the Morongo Basin has been inundated with hundreds, possibly thousands of firebird refugees. LA residents who have either lost their homes, who are unsure of the status of their homes, or who are unable to breathe the toxic smoke continuing to permeate Los Angeles County into its second week of the devastating blazes. This mass exodus to the basin has been testing the limits of our own limited infrastructure, with gridlocked roads, overwhelmed businesses, and our own power outages occurring because of the same high winds fueling the wildfires 2 hours away. Reporter Gabriel Hart takes a closer look on why Angelinos choose our desert for a safe place to escape to after chatting with a group of firebirds to get a first-hand account of their experience.
Chris Badger, a professor at Santa Monica College and head of an architectural design and construction company, was at his Topanga Canyon home on Tuesday morning when he received a call from his children's school, reporting a fire was in close range and suggesting to pick up his children immediately. After securing a temporary rental in mid-Wilshire, the Badgers witnessed multiple other fires raging in the city, and by Thursday they knew they had to make further distance.
At this point, we had to get out of the smoke because the LA basin is full of everyone's refrigerator and fiberglass insulation and their Tesla battery and everything else as a vapor in the air that you don't really want to put in your lungs or your kids' lungs. So we had the good fortune of having a car and decided to come out of that smoke and go upwind. We booked a place up in Yucca Valley, and then we got news that, hey, there might even be a power outage up there. The host said there's maybe or maybe not power, it's rolling blackouts. We looked around what we were looking at and said, hey, no power, that sounds fine. Comparatively, sounds relaxing.
Justin Maurer and Heather Rossi, two sign language interpreters from East Hollywood, were able to avoid the path of the Runyon Canyon fire, yet had to escape to the high desert for Heather's personal health reasons due to the smoke.
I have asthma and I was concerned about the air quality, and when we were near the evacuation line, we looked and it was like the air quality was like triple the amount that it should have been. And during my asthma is not an emergency usually until there is some sort of air quality issue. It was like 10 o'clock at night and we're like, do we evacuate? Do we stay overnight? Luckily we had an air purifier. We put it in the bedroom, and then in the morning we were just like, yeah, we need to get out of here somehow. It was either get on a plane and I leave physically, go somewhere else, or we decided to just come drive out here to where it's better air quality.
Heather's partner, Justin, a longtime visitor to Joshua Tree, is aware of the stress this mass exodus of Angelenos is having on the high desert, but asked for local understanding.
If you're local to Joshua Tree, I know that during the pandemic, probably folks here felt overrun by people from LA coming out during the pandemic and kind of taking advantage and feeling like your special place is being overrun. And I guess as an Angeleno would ask for a little bit of empathy, that a lot of the folks, not only whose houses burned down, some of them can't go back because their houses are unlivable because of all the chemicals in the air, and all of these disgusting substances that aren't meant to be lit on fire are just lingering. And so I think these houses and apartment buildings and condos that haven't burned down are health hazards. So a lot of these people can't go back, and so maybe the desert is an option for some of these folks, because you have about 100,000 refugees 2 hours away, so some of them are bound to come here. So I guess I would ask the locals for some empathy and some understanding.
Reporting for Z107.7, this is Gabriel Hart.
The fires currently burning through Los Angeles have claimed 24 lives and burned over 12,000 structures, according to Monday morning's estimates from the Los Angeles Times. High desert residents have sprung into action with volunteer and donation efforts. Online news editor Robert Hayden joins us with a few ways you can help.
The Desert Region Fire Safe Partners are teaming up with the Boys and Girls Club of the High Desert to collect essential supplies needed by those affected by the fires. Starting today and going through Friday, you can drop off donations at the Boys and Girls Club parking lot in Yucca Valley. All donations must be new and unused. They're looking for clothing, blankets, sleeping bags, shoes, non-perishable snacks, toiletries, baby and pet supplies, along with other items that would be helpful for those who have been left with next to nothing. They'll be collecting the donations in a trailer every day from 12 noon to 6 p.m., and they'll transport that trailer to LA County for distribution. The Boys and Girls Club of the High Desert is located at 56525 Little League Drive. There have also been some donation drives over the weekend for those displaced from Los Angeles who've made their way to the high desert. Several businesses have organized drop-offs with clothing, personal items, and pet supplies for folks fleeing the fires in LA and coming out here. We'll have links to their Instagram accounts and what they're collecting and where they're distributing the goods. If you want to donate money, there are many larger organizations that are accepting donations that will go directly to helping victims. The American Red Cross has boots on the ground in the area and can be donated directly by texting Red Cross to 90999. The Pasadena Humane Society has been overwhelmed with pets that have been displaced by the fire. They're the closest shelter to the Eaton fire, which has devastated nearby Altadena and Pasadena neighborhoods. Alongside the support we can give them monetarily, we can also be kind and patient with the people who have chosen to come out here after losing everything. We'll have a full list of the nonprofits and disaster relief funds and programs at this story on Z107.7fm.com. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.
And finally, Morongo Basin residents impacted by the recent Southern California Edison power outages are invited to attend a free community resource fair hosted by the San Bernardino County Office of Emergency Services in coordination with the town of Yucca Valley and the city of 29 Palms. Today, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in both Yucca Valley and 29 Palms. Today's event will provide essential resources to help residents during future power outages. Available resources will include free solar charging packs, masks and gloves, garbage bags, lanterns, along with tips for managing food waste during outages. The resource fairs will operate on a first-come, first-served basis and are open to all Morongo Basin residents. No registration is required and resources will be available while they last. The events are today from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at both the Yucca Valley Community Center and the 29 Palms Community Center. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. If you hear about news happening, let us know. Email us at tips@Z107.7fm.com. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm Jeff Harmatz.